gamers all around the flat universe. On today's episode, on episode number 3 actually, is X OP or does my Civ suck? Silver Hand, who has just won a giveaway. Giveaway is about to happen where the winner will get free coaching. Type Civ OP in the chat to enter. Here we go. Roll it. Fractal Reality. That's a new follower right here. Silver Hand. That's a week-old follower right there. So yeah, the point of this series is I'm going to be doing giveaways on Twitch. So whenever I do a live stream, not whenever, I'll have a, I'll let you guys know which day I'm doing it. Anyone can enter. I do like a giveaway. The bot picks a random person in the chat and I check their replay. He says, just go for it. I'm sure I messed up many things. I'm sure you did. Which is fine, by the way, which is fine. Let's check. So this is a quick match game, but it is on Lipany. I do require from people to submit their, doesn't have to be a ranked game. As long as it's one-on-one game, it's not like a troll game. It's a serious game where you try to win and you need help. And as long as it's both in quick match and ranked map pool, I don't care what map it is. I don't care what matchup it is. I don't care what civ you are. I'm here to give you some advice, give you some help, and hopefully you learn something. Let's get started. So he said he doesn't play ranked matches, so I'm gonna do my best to, since he doesn't play ranked, I'm not gonna assume he's like Conqueror level, so I'm gonna try to, give him as much advice as possible so he can probably learn. He's playing Rus, and he's playing against Young, which is Abbasid. Okay, first things first that I'm noticing, 3 on wood is fine. I would suggest going 2 to build a hunting cabin, and then lumber, and then house, and then lumber camp. You can do 3 as well, but I think 2 is a little bit better. And the first thing you want to build from a TC, if you're Rus, always, if you're Rus or against Rus, you build scout first from a TC, okay? This is very important. Once your hunting cabin finishes, you also want to make a scout from that as well. So you want to be a total of 3 scouts if you're playing Rus, and if you're playing against Rus, you want to have 2 scouts. I wanted to get second scout from cabin. If you do that, you already might miss out on stuff. So for example, you can see where the scout is, right? Let's say there was a deer pack on this side, and his scout went that way, right, this way, instead of the left side. By the time your scout is out, you're going to lose the deer pack. And hunting for animals as Rus is all about how fast you do it and how much map coverage you get. So, yeah, that's why you want to get the one from TC, because you pay 70 food for a scout, but you can potentially get like 100 plus gold with it. There are some builds where you go with like 4 workers to build a hunting cabin, and then you build worker from a TC, but that's the kind of optimization that you don't necessarily need to do. I think this is a lot easier and perhaps even better to do. Okay, so you're going here with the scout, you're going across the map, and your opponent is, he's not denying the animals. Oh, there we go, never mind. He's gonna leave you the deer, he's a nice guy. Alright. Let's see. You want to start wheelbarrow? Okay, so you pulled 1 worker back, so you do have 2 in wood. Okay. You do want to start wheelbarrow the moment you have 50 food, 50 wood, sorry. Let me check where your scouts are. What I would suggest, if you're low league and you're playing Rus, because Rus is from what I've heard, very difficult to manage in low leagues. So what you do, send the first scout like you did across the map with a move command, so you attack any wolves on the way, and then the other 2 scouts that come out, if you find a deer pack, always shift Q and all the deer. Like don't try to be like a pro where you only do 2 shots per deer. Just shift Q, and then you can also, once you shift Q all the deer, you can also shift Q auto attack over here. So once that's done, the scout is automatically gonna move. So you wanna make sure that your scouts are not AFKing. That's the most important part. And obviously, you send 1 scout, see like this, right? If you A moved after you kill the deer, that scout would be there and you wouldn't need to spend as much APM. Same for the other scouts. Like always try to use a move because sometimes you'll be looking at your base or somewhere else and you might not see wolves because wolves are somehow difficult to see. Like if there's a wolf here, it might be hard to spot, but if you A move, your scout is going to attack it. You want to rally on food until you age up, okay? So you are sending already to woodline, but you don't need to. I would strongly advise, by the way, whether you're submitting replays or whether you're new to AoE 4 or maybe you just do your own style in AoE 4, the first thing you got to do is check out my guides on YouTube, okay? Hashtag sellout, because I have guides for each civ, and checking out those guides will help you quite a lot to make sure that you have a good direction and a proper build order to follow. And you know, if maybe mechanically you're not there or game knowledge you're not there, at least with build order and what you're supposed to do for the first 4, 5, 6 minutes is on point. Alright, so yeah, wheelbarrow, the moment you have 50 wood. Okay, it's a little bit delayed, but you did get it. Very nice. So what is your general idea when you play Rus? Do you have any plan? Do you just wing it? What do you do? Let me know in the chat. Okay. Oh, you run out of food. Okay. Okay, this is an issue that is very tricky with Rus. At times, as you can see. So one of the scouts, I would suggest the first scout that goes across the map, like let it go deep, you know, try to find their deer, try to get as many wolves, try to get their sheep and all that. So the first scout is like a counterattack scout. The second scout can either go across the map as well and try to get as much of their stuff as possible, or you can use the second scout to gather sheep around your base to make sure that this doesn't happen. He says 2 TC and Boar, second TC and Boar. Okay. So if you have a second scout around your base, on your half of the map, gathering sheep, you will not be running out of food like this, because this is a major issue right now. So if you look, I know that the reason you ran out of food is because all your scouts are on the opposite side of the map. So even though you have sheep here, they're nowhere close. So right now you're probably forced to build a hunting cabin. If you build a hunting cabin, your second TC is delayed, your feudal might be delayed, and it kind of opens up a whole lot of can of worms, and you know, it just goes downhill. Not to mention this is not scouted at all. So let's see. Another thing is, try not to have this where I know I'm very focused on scouting, but Rus is very important for the scouting part, right? Try not to send your scouts at the same place that the previous scout has passed. So for example, this scout went, I think it went from here, right? This scout went from here, and then this scout is coming back from the same location you just passed through. So try to maximize the way you move your scouts so that they don't overlap around the same paths. If you did this a bit more efficiently, and this is for everyone out there, no matter what league you are, you could have scouted this and had all 3 scouts like coming back to your base with sheep and all that. So, yeah. Yeah, no crossing paths with scouts, right? Okay, you notice this wolf as well. Oh, watch out! What you can do is another small trick. You could have sent these sheep on this scout. Again, this is, you know, trying to get the most efficient thing out there. You lost 1 scout, but that's fine, it happens. And yeah, now you needed to make another hunting cabin, and now your thing is delayed. You don't have quite enough gold because your scouts were quite far away. And you did not get these, right? So because you did not get these, you don't have enough gold, which is why it's very important whenever you play a game with Rus or against Rus. There's 2 deer packs on each side of the map, so it's very important that you get your deer packs because you need them if you want to age up, assuming you also go for the wheelbarrow. Now the tower placement, you can put it like, this is a thing that I'll see a lot of people do. You can see it has quite a large radius, so instead of putting the tower here, you could have put it here, not only it's going to cover more of the wood line, it's also potentially going to protect your stone. And if you place the tower here, it's going to give you vision at like this radius, right? Right now it's going to give you this radius, but if you put it somewhere around here, which doesn't cost you anything, you're going to get much bigger radius. And also it's going to cover like maybe this side as well, a little bit around the wood line. So that's something that you can always do, and it's very easy with roofs. Just try to position your towers a tiny bit better so they give you the most vision. What you could have also done is if you're playing against French or something, this tower could have been on this side so that you protect your gold, you gain vision, and your villagers from both woodline and gold can evacuate. So again, it's a small thing. It's a thing that's very easy to fix, but it's a thing that's going to help you a lot in the long run. All right. Yeah, so your age up is quite a bit delayed because of all these things that I just mentioned. He's slamming your scout. You did get over 250 bounty, which is very important. You're micring a little bit, so you're not aging up at the moment. When you go for second TC, you want to age up with 6 workers because you want to... Yeah, your age up is very delayed right now. Very, very delayed. You want to age up with 6 workers because that will allow you to... the moment you have 200 gold to buy the 300 stone that you need. That's why you see people aging up with 6 workers as Rus at the high level. Whoa, 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 whoa! You need a new lumber camp right here. Yeah, right now already you can place another lumber camp right here. Boom. Because this run distance is a little bit inefficient, can be a tiny bit better. Alright, you got too much gold. If you're doing the 2 TC build, like 1 TC on Boar, having like 3 on gold is more than enough. But like I said, I'm not going to focus too much on the build order. I would advise you to check out my guide, and that's going to help you a lot to execute this, because I do have a guide on Rus 2 TC build on Boar that I released recently actually, so yeah. So let's focus on some other stuff. Let's focus on your macro, let's focus on your micro, your scouting, and everything else. 900 wood. Okay, you got enough for TC. Okay, let's see your Boar killing. There's gonna be a good one. Let's see that execution. You need 8 villagers for this. Always bring 8 villagers if you're going for Boar. Because 8 villagers is the maximum of the villagers that you can put on a Boar to gather. You cannot gather with 9. 8 is maximum. And then you would rally these TC onto the gold or onto the bears. I'm assuming you're going to use a knight to kill. Whoop, 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 whoop. Okay, okay. Gets the Boar, no workers died. Okay. Alright, micro god. Okay. Yeah, lumber camp need to be replaced. This is This is no bueno. I would have fit 2 camps here. It's gonna, because every time they have to go back and drop off, you should see that as resources lost. So instead of them running back and dropping that off, they could just turn around, boop, and continue. Okay. Okay, very nice. So you see that he has 3 TC. When you see that he has 3 TC, you can either continue producing units and go for an all-in, or you can age up yourself. I can't see the hotkeys, right, for either player. Yeah, I can't see the hotkeys, so that's a problem. But if you don't have hotkeys on for your buildings and stuff, I would suggest. I also have a hotkey guide on YouTube. But I would suggest putting your production buildings in like a line, so like 4, 5, 6. And whenever you make a villager, also click, like let's say your TC is on 4. You make villagers, then you click 5. You check if you're producing knights or horsemen or spearmen. You make a couple, then you press 6, and then you produce archers. And every time you make villagers, you basically get into a habit of whenever you make villagers, your brain is like, I should check barracks, and I should check stables, and I should check archery ranges. So that's something that you need to consider and do. And okay, he says you don't use hotkeys. Okay, you should definitely try to use some hotkeys. I would say you don't maybe need like 10 different hotkeys, but try to use one hotkey for army and try to use one hotkey for town centers, and then you can do one hotkey for stables, right? You don't need to put stables, barracks, and archery ranges into 3 different hotkeys. Just start with hotkey, just stables and TCs, okay? And then from then on out, once you get comfortable with using TCs and stables on a hotkey, then you'll be annoyed that you have to click archer ranges every time, and then you'll add them as well. Yeah, it's pretty important to have them for buildings as well. Also, another thing that I see, and this happened in StarCraft 2 as well. A lot of people don't want to seem like noobs, so they don't want to over queue units, right? So they only queue like 1-2 units at the time, because that's what high level players do. So if you select the stables, right, you see only 3 knights. You could have queued out 10 knights here, right? And if your macro is lacking, it's better to queue up 4 knights in each stable and make sure they're producing, then queue up 1 or 2 and then miss further productions in the future as well, unless you plan to go castle now. But yeah, I saw that you said you use hotkeys for units but not buildings. I would even say perhaps using hotkeys for buildings is more important in Age of Empires 4 than it is hotkeying units at this level of play. So you have 9 workers on board, and you can see one of the workers is AFK because only 8 can fit on the board. Okay, you're adding more production. You right now have enough economy to sustain 3 archery ranges and like 2 stables, even though you don't have gold, but you have way more production buildings than you need right now. You have 4 stables and 6 archery ranges, which with this economy ain't gonna work, chief. So try to produce your units more constantly instead of making overwhelming amount of production and then produce. That's something that's more suitable for late game. Okay, that's a good thing I caught this comment. You said I wanted to ram rush, but he got to castle first. So Rus and French and Abbasid are one of the civs that even if the opponent is age up, you can still ramp push them if you're feudal, because you have knights, and knights will be able to deal with either their knights if you have greater numbers, or men-at-arms, and you'll still be able to push with just big kind of clump of units, because they will have, you know, less units because they spent all their resources on age up. So yeah, whenever you pick a style, like you're like, I'm gonna ramp push, just do a ramp push. Don't be like, oh, it's too late, he's castle. Like, just have a plan and execute it. That's what RTS is. You should adjust in the moments for certain things, but you shouldn't change your whole game plan just because the opponent did something. It's like, if you're doing an all-in, do an all-in. If there's something that the opponent did, do an all-in, but adjust around it. Yeah, you got a bunch, 19 horse archers in queue right now. Okay, you need a couple of knights to tank for the horse. Okay, you got knights as well. Blacksmith upgrades. If you are going for this kind of mass cavalry style, this upgrade is really, really good because it increases the health of all the cavalry by 20, which is really nice. So if we look at your map, you don't know much on what's going on that side of the map. If you are going with this cavalry base style, that means that you can harass villagers, you can kill villagers, you can run, but you can't kill any buildings, right? Like you can't kill a TC. So a good thing to add when you have this kind of style is get stone, and if you could drop a keep here, right? Like let's say on this location and you have all this cavalry, then you can harass this TC, you can rotate, harass on this side, and because the keep is here, he can't engage into it. And behind a keep, what you can do is make a trebuchet because you have no units that destroy buildings. So you can use your cavalry as like a mobile, you know, units, hit and run, while having a keep that's going to hold their units, and then you go for a trebuchet that's going to slowly work on their buildings and put them on some kind of timer. As you can see, this is just, you know, it's a slow build up. Wow! Spearman farming. We gotta lose resources. This guy's pumping. He has double the workers right now, which he's Abbasid and he wasn't 3C, but he shouldn't be double at this point. It should be like 80-ish, maybe even 90, 80, 90 workers for you and 120-ish for him. So there was definitely some idling on the TCs, which is very important. That's the #1 thing on any RTS game, is constantly producing your villagers. The more villagers you got, the more army you got. So see, this is exactly what I was talking about he did to you, okay? I just said this, that you can put a keep here and have that as your point, and then you can do the harassment or whatever, and he just did that to you. So right now, this is a no-go zone for you. Like, you can't push in here, you can't do anything. So he can just retreat, and if he wants, he can just go the other side, and you can't run past this keep. This is a no-go zone for you, and you can see. You go back, right? And now you gotta build a trebuchet. Now this is the interesting part. Whenever you make a keep in AoE 4, doesn't matter what location it is. If he makes a keep here, it's actually very obvious what you're going to do, right? He doesn't need to scout. He knows that you're gonna have to make a trebuchet. If you make a trebuchet, he can actually build 2 siege workshops and he can go springolds, and he's putting you in a very bad situation. So he can rotate his army and then get springolds here, defend the keep, while denying you of any resources that are in this zone, because he knows you have to go trebuchet in order to destroy it. Meanwhile, you can't really put your own keep here because it doesn't do anything. He's not attacking you through it, he can just chill here. And he kind of forces you in these awkward situations. And again, if you had a keep here, on the other hand, this would have been a completely different game at this point. But look how stuck in base you are because of this. And that's what keeps do. Okay, you pick up a relic, or you're gonna go for a Wololo. Wololo! Yeah, there's the trebuchet. It's good. But yeah, right now he's too far ahead, right? Like all these little things added up to quite a lot. It's 120 versus 190. Also, what you could do is get some walls up. I think some walls would have also helped you quite a lot in this game, because there were spearmen that were running around and killing your villagers. This keep, I would probably put a wall here and then throw a keep like this area or this area, because what you're gonna do is potentially block off the sacred side, or at least help yourself from the sacred side. Get this wood line, get this wood line, berries, stone, and big gold. A big gold is a very common place to drop the keep. And if you look at the, again, this is more advanced stuff, but just giving you a general advice. You got the big gold here. If you manage to block off this big gold and then just trade units with the opponent, they will lose him the gold war eventually. Because right now he only has 1 gold remaining, and that's this one right here. Oh, he has this one as well. So he has about 3k gold left, and then he's out. But yeah, without going further, I mean, I'll finish this replay. I think the main thing that you need to do, Silverhand to improve, is constant villager production, hotkey your buildings, That is a must. At least your TCs and your stable. At least. And whenever you check the TCs, check the stables as well. Try to have a goal in the game. Like again, check the guide. I know I go back to it, check the guide. You'll see you can practice the all-in that I show in that guide, or the all-in. Like it's a push. It's a 2TC push. And just have a clear goal. Don't bother with what opponent is doing. The build, look at it this way, the build works, okay? I do it in my games, the build works. You just have to practice on executing it, and whenever you lose with it, check what the other top players are doing and what you're doing different. And try to analyze your own game from that way. But anyway, let's check the rest of this game. But I'm pretty sure he just wins because, yeah, his economy is way, way higher. Almost, but not quite. Yeah, now he's gonna get the gold here. He doesn't have stone to repair. Check that. You could do a little keep here right now. That would be a good idea. He actually lost a lot of the. He actually lost a lot of his army there, so you had a really good engagement. If you threw down a keep and then got this keep down and then this keep down, you set yourself up to again hold the gold. And look what he does. Again, he does the same thing that I just told you that you could have done, right? He goes and drops the keep because he wants to secure the gold and the stone. So this keep that you did, technically, it's a good keep, but should have been there instead. Damn, he is just vacuuming the stone. Okay. A lot of siege workshops. You could age up. You could have aged up with high armory right here to reduce cost of your siege and give them more unique upgrades. Okay, very nice. This one's not in range, but these four are. Matters. $160 villagers from this guy. Nice target fire under one mango. Yeah, now he has pure camel rider, or mostly camel rider army that directly counters what you're doing. And yeah, I think this guy compared to you had better macro and better understanding of where to put keeps and which areas to defend. But in this game, you had better engagements. His fights were a lot worse than yours, but he won on sheer economy. He has 158 workers versus 81. So I would say if you're lower league, aim at least 110, 120 workers, at least. I think that's a good numbers if you're lower league, so you can just hold down the production key and just spam as many units as you can. And again, I always gave this tip in StarCraft 2 as well. Whenever you have a lot of units, just queue up units, guys. Don't queue up 1-2 units at a time. Just spend your resources. Because these stables, for example, have been inactive for a while. And I know technically it is not correct to queue up units. It is way better to produce 1 or 2 units at a time, but not if you're floating resources. That's something to remember. I hope you learned something new. I hope I helped you. Thank you for submitting your replay, Fractal Reality, and I hope everyone learned something new today. Boom!